you guys aren't going anywhere, I am going to start right now. Now, I introduced myself already. My name is Kyle, and it's very wonderful to meet you all. This is here what we call our ocean view display. Most obviously, it is the biggest tank in our centre. It holds 500,000 litres of water. This is half of all the water in our centre, just in this one tank. So this gives me the wonderful opportunity to have so many things to talk about, but I'm also super aware, if I was to talk about every animal in this display one by one, by the time I'm finished, you probably will fall asleep. So I'm going to miss some things, I'm not that good, but if I do miss anything that does interest you, this could be about something we've seen around our centre today, feel free to come up to me afterwards. I'll be happy to answer any extra questions. A final promise, I am always going to talk about the turtles. That'd be very silly of me to miss. I'm always going to talk about them, but I'd like to start off by talking about a shark. Let's do this one to begin with. Now, not her in particular, but the species that we have in this display, the blacktip reef sharks. There are 10 blacktip reef sharks in here, so we've only seen them come by quite a bit. And to get this out of the way with, I know that's not the biggest shark you've ever seen in your life. In fact, out of the 4 species we have in this display, this is the smallest. Despite that, I think they are one of the coolest, because they are the only shark in our centre that swims for their entire lives non-stop. They live for about 30 years on average, and this means they spend every single day for 30 years straight swimming in a forwards direction without ever taking a break. Firstly, if that was a marathon, imagine the distance they would be travelling throughout their lifetime without ever not moving forwards. I think that's so impressive. I actually want to see if anybody can impress me. Does anybody know why they have to keep swimming? Anyone at all? Show hands? No? I enjoy that, that's fine, it's a bit of a mystery. Sometimes the whole room has a guess, but I really like it. Sometimes we just don't know. I'll let you show through the room. Go ahead. Howdy. So yeah, the reason our blacktip reef sharks are always moving forward is super easy. It's the reason that they breathe. The only way a blacktip reef shark can get water into its body is by moving its body through the water. So if it is not swimming, it would not be able to breathe, and it would begin to drown. You don't need to be a fish expert to understand that drowning is not one of their ideal goals, right? So they're always going to be moving around. The blacktip reef sharks have a further problem. Some of you might now know why they're moving around, but when do they get to go to sleep? Because if they are moving for their whole lives, when are they supposed to take a nap? They do definitely need to sleep, by the way. So this is what makes them one of my favourite sharks in the centre. They've been asleep this entire time you've been looking at them. Right now, the blacktip reef sharks are snoozing and cruising by the window. They do this by turning off half of their brain throughout their day. So right now, half of their brain is off, half of their brain is on. They will even switch between which side of the brain is on and off to get a good amount of sleep on both sides. Last thing about them, that makes them the laziest animals in our centre. Now, I don't need to judge them. If anything, I think that a lot of us would be a lot like them. If you could do all of your daily duties and nap, you probably would, right? That sounds pretty good. So our blacktip reef sharks work the same. Imagine, of course, that we then had something important come up. You need to drive, a job interview, a test. You're obviously going to turn on your whole brain. So blacktip reef sharks, same situation. If the situation demands it, their whole brain will turn on. But if that situation's not there, they'll be having a nice little sleep. So finally, the only time during the day when we expect them to consistently wake up is feeding time, of course, when they've got to get food. Because they're competing against every other shark in this display to get a nice little snack. And our big green sea turtle phoenix will slap a shark in the face for his food. So you've got to be firing off on all cylinders just to dodge their flippers. So finally, if you are to run the numbers, this means that a normal day for them is about 23 and a half hours of sleep. They'll do 30 minutes for a little bit of food, and then they just go back to sleep afterwards. That's how I would like to spend my days off. So you can imagine it is a wonderful life for a blacktip reef shark, and that's what makes it one of my favourites. Let's move on then and talk about our 2 gorgeous green sea turtles. Having bound them on long enough now that we've probably seen them come by a few times already, I can see Noah just skirting along the back there, and I just shortly or recently saw Phoenix going over on the right. I'd like you guys to be able to identify them. Oh, 1 second. nice and quiet. So the best way in which we can identify them is just by looking at their tails. Noah is a male sea turtle, very big tail. It is longer than his flippers, it makes him look like a triceratops. It's that easy. If we do see Phoenix though, while she is much bigger than Noah, her tail is actually really small, smaller than her flippers. That's how we're going to realise she's a female turtle. The real reason I want you guys to be able to identify them is because they have massively different personalities, and that just shows in their day-to-day movement. Phoenix is very calm and collected. She likes to take it easy. She usually is an absolute show-off, gliding over the top of the window here. And our animal care team like to call her food motivated. That is a very nice way of saying greedy. She absolutely loves to eat more than any other animal we have ever worked with. And it actually means for feeding time, she is, while of course always trying to steal everyone's food, incredibly well behaved. She never gets distracted and she will stay with us as long as we have got a snack, she's hanging by. Noah is the opposite of this. He eats like a normal turtle, and if we try and give him any more food than is reasonable, he's bored by it and he just goes for a bit of a run-off. In fact, sometimes he's so excited in the morning that he'll come up for food, barely finish his own meal, and then just go for a run anyway. We have to wait for him to come back to finish the rest of his food. His hobbies are a lot more goal-orientated, and so they involve tons of fun things on a day-to-day basis. Noah enjoys biting on the pillars of this window from time to time. His girlfriend Phoenix will bite him on the bum if he does that for too long. She gets very jealous thinking he's eaten. And then my favourite thing that Noah does is chase after the sharks for fun. It looks like an episode of Tom and Jerry where we mixed up the animals, and it is incredible how fast a turtle can really go when they really want to. You have no clue how easy they are swimming in this display until you see them really trying to catch something that is actually fast. The last thing I want to mention between the two of them are their favourite foods. It was actually Phoenix's birthday yesterday. She just turned 26. And we made her a cake out of cucumbers, demolished the entire thing in one sitting. As you can guess, her favourite food is cucumbers. That love for greens really goes the whole way though. Noah's favourite food is green bell peppers, of all things. I'm being very specific about the colour because he has mixed feelings about the other ones. We have never been able to get him to eat a yellow bell pepper, and we found out he's scared of the red ones. I think that's amazing. He is brave enough to chase after a shark a couple times a day, but he can't handle the red version of his favourite food. You make that make sense. Last but not least, I want to give you guys a way in which you can actually help them out. I want to, of course, tell you something you probably don't know about sharks, give you a really fun fact about that, and then hopefully give you a really quick and easy way in which you can actually help them too. So what I want to first start this final bit off with is telling you that our animal care team dive in this display. Scuba dive. They swim around in here and they mostly do this to just give everything a nice clean, so you guys can enjoy this wonderful display without massive bits of algae coming across the window. And when we're in this tank, a lot of people think about the danger the sharks and the stingrays might pose. The thing is though, is that when they do get in this display, Phoenix is the one biting their butt cheeks. The sharks swim by like they're not even in the water. 15 sharks in this tank, and they do not even go near our animal care team. A lot of you may be surprised to hear this because of the general impression that we are given about sharks. Impressions like them being deadly, dangerous, aggressive, man-eating predators. The truth is that most species are actually really skittish, and if their food is bigger than their heads, they'll usually not go for it. For the same reason, if a 7-foot-tall man came around the corner, you can go, what? Right? That's a bad idea. So for sharks, if they see things much larger than them, they'll actually just skirt around. And us humans are bigger than almost every species in this display. In fact, on average, humans are bigger than almost every species of shark on the planet. This idea that they're all ginormous is only true for a very small subset of the over 500 species on our planet. This finally means that you are more likely to be killed by a coconut than you are by a shark. More coconuts kill people here than sharks do. So do toasters, pigeons, and vending machines. There are about 40 shark bites a year, and that makes you 10 times more likely to be bitten by a New Yorker than you are by a shark. It's about 400 people in the city of New York, 500 New Yorkers. Lastly, you're more likely to be bitten by the person sitting next to you. You might imagine, ooh. Yeah. Just doing a bit of a count up, because I did just see 3 people try and bite each other, so thank you for proving that point. And so, lastly, I want to give you guys a way in which we can actually help you out. With those over 500 species of sharks on our planet, we are hunting up to 200 million sharks a year, and this means that about half of these species are near threatened, endangered, or worse. The reason this is such a problem is because with there being so many species, each species doesn't have that big of a population, and they are not protected. There is an organisation right now, though, doing amazing work to help these guys get the protection they need. They are called the Shark Trust. And what they're doing is called the Big Shark Pledge. You might have even noticed what they're doing. It's a little video that goes on in our ocean tunnel. So all I am asking you guys to do is visit the Shark Trust website, have a look at their Big Shark Pledge, and if you can, leave a little digital signature. If you are to support an organisation like that, it won't just mean the most to me, it's going to mean the most to animals that bite less people than New Yorkers do. Now, I'm very aware I can't talk to you very off only about some fish. We've all got many other better places to be. But again, there are so many other things here that I haven't been able to mention, like this gorgeous girl with a weird white see-through nose. So again, any questions, feel free to come up. Of course, lastly, we always want to hear about how your day has been. We have this little machine on the right-hand side. We'd love it if you were to give it a go. Let us know what you enjoyed. Let us know if there's anything you think we can improve. And it is great if you do want to leave a cheeky mention. You could put, Kyle's Shark Talk was awesome. I'm not going to stop you. Let my managers know I'm actually doing my job. If you have not enjoyed my talk, you never come back here again, and I have ruined your weekend. My name is David, the manager, and I was never here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers.